including breast, colon, and throat cancer. Drinking less can lower your risk. You deserve to know the truth about alcohol and cancer. Get the facts. Visit nyc.gov/alcohol.
Good morning, everyone. Happy to have you with us. It's Wednesday, June 24th, 2026. I am J.R. Giddings. Welcome to the Reset Talk Show. This show changes the conversation. This platform will help to reset and reshape the nation and the world. Here is a preview of the top stories we are following. The grand opening of the Obama Presidential Center was a star-studded event. Our panel of experts will give their takeaways. Then we will discuss US and Iran talks. It's been a back and forth with some fragile resolution, but mediators are encouraged. And we are remembering legendary music mogul Clive Davis. He has died at age 94. All of this and more coming up. You're listening to and watching the Reset Talk Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Whatever your audiology needs are, we are here to help. Our full-time staff includes doctors of audiology, graduate student clinicians. We screen for, diagnose, and treat hearing loss in a diverse population of all ages. We work closely with primary care physicians, otolaryngologists, and other healthcare providers to ensure that we are treating the whole person, not just their hearing.
When it was time for my baby's vaccinations, I wasn't sure what to do. There was so much conflicting information, I didn't know what was real. But then I found out that since the 90s, childhood vaccines have saved over 1 million lives and prevented more than 500 million illnesses in children.
And like me, many parents worry. We all want to do what's best for our babies. So I went to my baby's doctor and I asked a lot of questions.
And got the answers I needed. I choose to vaccinate. Ask questions, get answers. Vaccinate.
Drinking alcohol increases the risk of several types of cancer, including breast, colon, and throat cancer. Drinking less can lower your risk. You deserve to know the truth about alcohol and cancer. Get the facts. Visit nyc.gov/alcohol.
Hi, I'm Rabbi Eli Cohen, and I'm excited to introduce you to the new location of the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council Social Service Center. This is where you can continue to get help for seniors with Medicare, Social Security, any problems with SCREE applications and renewals. We have our health navigator who can provide you with health insurance for your family. We have Medicaid and SNAP applications, of course, and our well-known free business counseling for small businesses. So we're looking forward to greeting you at our new location. We're at the corner of Kingston Avenue and Lefferts Avenue in Brooklyn. Call me, Rabbi Eli Cohen, 718-771-9000, and we're here to serve you.
Welcome back. This is the Reset Talk Show. We have a great show for you this week. Let's begin with the grand opening of the Obama Presidential Center. Joining us this morning is Dr. Giddings, Pastor Straker, Dr. Griffith, of course, Rabbi Cohen, and Donatella. Welcome in, panel. How are you this morning?
Good morning. Morning, doing wonderful.
Good morning, all. So, I must say that over the Juneteenth weekend, for me, I thought this was very powerful, very impactful. The opening of the Obama Presidential Center. Man, what a star-studded event it was. I mean, the who's who was there. When you talk about guests, from Oprah to LL Cool J, and I'm going just up and down the spectrum, and not to mention all of the live performances. So let's start today with you, Dr. Giddings. What impressed you the most about the grand opening of the Obama Presidential Center?
Good morning, JR. Good morning, panelists, listeners. Good to be here this morning. Yes. Oh my gosh. I can't really choose. It was all so impressive. But what really struck me was Michelle Obama's speech to her husband. Oh my gosh, I should say tribute to her husband, and that was just so heartwarming. It She was just so honest and candid and poised. She gave him all his flowers, talked about his accomplishments, and it just brought tears to his eyes. So that really moved me. But I'm sure it wasn't lost on all of us that it was on the Juneteenth weekend. And that was just really symbolic. I mean, it just kind of just just in just it just covered everything, American history, freedom, community, hope. And President Obama's speech was also really enlightening, and it was just, it brought tears to my eyes. Okay, it was just such a nostalgic event. And one of the things Michelle mentioned was that he was in the crucible for 8 years. And, she mentioned his grace and courage and grit through it all. So it was just, amazing. I mean, the building, everything that's going on there. It's in Jackson Park, which is a historic neighborhood. He brought it back to the south side of Chicago, which he stated he arrived there when he was about 23 years old with everything in his old beat up car. So, and the entire center, it has so many things, the playground, it just encompasses everything, and it just overlooks the entire city. And one of the important things that I watched in one of the interviews was that he even put in a section of the museum, a section for unfinished business. And I thought that was showed so much humility, which they stand for. And it was just so much. It was overwhelming, to be honest. I mean, Obama also in his speech focused on, what's important, and he talks about the importance of character and honesty and integrity, and that really still matters in America. And he talked about what he's doing. He's just working for the common good, and he focuses on we the people. It's always about we. Even when he was campaigning, he was talking about we. Yes, we can. So, as I said, it was just overwhelming. I loved it. It was a stark contrast to what's going on the other side, with that horrible reflecting green pool and, of the Lincoln Memorial. So it was just a stark contrast, and it just brought us back to who we are and what we represent.
Thank you, Dr. Giddings. Audience, if you're just joining us, we are talking about the Obama Presidential Center that was open on Friday, June 19th, 2026. We have our panel of experts here giving their takeaways. Donatella, what's your takeaway from this grand opening of the Obama Presidential Center?
Well, hi, good morning, viewers, panelists, and JR. I have to tell you, one of the highlights of my week was watching the opening ceremony of the Obama Presidential Center online. Excuse me, I would have been remiss if it wasn't available for each of us to engage in, if we could not be in Chicago. And as a woman of color, it was incredibly inspiring to witness a project of this magnitude come to life. And in my opinion, regardless of your political affiliation, the center represents the power of education, civic engagement, leadership, and the importance of preserving history for future generations, especially at a time where we seem to have an administration which is doing just the opposite, trying to get rid of a lot of our history. Seeing President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama create a space dedicated to empowering young people and encouraging public service is something that resonated very deeply with me, especially being on this platform. It serves as a reminder that where you start in life does not determine where you could possibly end up. And I've already added the Obama Presidential Center to my personal must visit list. I think it's something that we as a community need to make sure that we add as a visitation. I'm excited about the increased level of tourism it's going to bring for Chicago. So the next time I find myself in Chicago, it will absolutely be one of the first places I plan to visit. I believe it will become not only a landmark for the city, but also a destination that inspires and visitors from around the world for generations to come. Looking forward, already signed the petition to have that street name changed in honor of President Hussein Barack Obama. And I'm going to challenge you, JR. Why not put together a trip organized for us all to go? And it would be great to go live from there as well with our show.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like something that we should definitely look into. Uh, President Obama is one of my mentors. I mean, from the time I um, recognized who he was, and I'm talking about probably 16, 17, maybe more years than that. You know, he is that person that anytime he is giving a speech, anytime he is any place, I want to be there. I want to be there with a pen and my notepad because I know that some real nuggets will come from any speech that he's making. So yes, um, right now, Dr. Griffith, I want to come over to you because it was so important for us to have you here today as the professor and the author. I know that you would add so much value to this segment. You know, our listening audience and viewers, they know that we touch on all of the issues, but it's the perspectives, okay, that we bring that makes a difference. Um, could I get your take on the grand opening of the Obama Presidential Center?
Good morning, and thanks for having me on again, JR Dapper Don. Something that Donatello, a couple of things that Donatello said resonated with me because I was thinking exactly the same way she was thinking. You know, I've had the good fortune of a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, on a trip to Hawaii, visited the place where President Obama was born, the hospital where he was born, saw the house he still has as part of the tour. And as I was looking on Thursday, the opening, I said to myself, I've got to go to the Presidential Center. And so next year, the Griffith family will be going to that Presidential Center. Thanks, Donatello. We think alike. And I was also thinking, would it not be great for the Reset Talk Show to have a presence there?
Yes, I agree.
I second Donatello's recommendation, and I think it's something that we should aim not only to talk about but to execute. I spent several hours of my Thursday, and I was looking at it on TikTok, being part of that experience. And it occurred to me that that whole experience of the opening ceremony was a remarkable expression of inclusion.
Yes.
This was not just about Obama. You had inclusion as part of the watermark of that whole thing from who were the guests, previous presidents, Republican and Democrat. Who were the guests, international heads of state. Who were the performers? Diversity of musical genre, diversity of ages, diversity of racial and gender profiles. But inclusion was not the only watermark for me. JR, I would bet you $1,000 of the rabbi's money that there is not a single person associated with that project that has any criminal record, any allegation of fraud, any semblance of a negative value. And so for me, that whole experience is one of saying, look, we've got demonstration of inclusion, we've got also demonstration of excellence insofar as values are concerned. And it is not just about Obama in what the whole project, there is a museum, there is a garden, there is basketball, there are things for the community to engage in and to do. And I was tickled pink, and I think Donatello mentioned it too, or is it Dr. Giddings? Wouldn't it be wonderful to have the Obama name on that street where a certain person's hotel is?
Yes.
That would be a remarkable achievement. I hope the Chicago City Council people approve that project. So I'm delighted to be excited that in spite of all the negativity and the leadership of what not to do by current leaders in these United States, you had a person who is an embodiment of, we'll do it not because of, but in spite of. We'll do it not just for me, but for us. We will do it not just for my age cohort, but for younger generations. So let's go to Chicago. Let's spend a couple of days there. Let's embrace the inclusion. Let's extend the excellence. Let's embrace that presidential center.
You know, Dr. Griffith, we're going to come back over to you. I mean, you just hit all the points that I knew that you would illuminate today. But we have Rabbi Cohen here, and you know, when we talk about diversity and inclusion, I think the Reset Talk shows the epitome of that. Rabbi, what was your take on the grand opening of the Obama Presidential Center?
Well, I think it's a very big event. I think everyone spoke correctly that Obama, in his personal life, in his accomplishments, is to rise from not from pretty simple beginnings to be the president of the United States, to his message of inclusion. I think if you go back to his opening speech about there's eschewing, no, we shouldn't be doing things according to color. We shouldn't be doing things according to all these different. It's not, he says the different states. It's not this state. It's not that state. It's the United States of America. And that was his opening message. That I think is a very powerful message. That, in some ways, I think that is to be appreciated in his presidency. I think if we talk about a day like that, right, celebrating the opening of a presidential center, a library center, a monument for a president, I think the most important lesson we should take is that today is the day to focus on the positive. And whichever president of the United States we're talking about, that was a day to focus on the positive. And I would hope that our fellow panelists and commentators all over would follow the same example when it comes to
dealing with all presidents. There are certain times, there are certain occasions, there are certain moments where we should be focusing all our attention on the positive. And unfortunately, we don't always rise to that challenge. So in a day like, I mean, was there controversy surrounding this opening? There was. Some people were critical of the content of the museum. Some people were critical of the legacy. Some people were, different issues that came up. But the first focus should be on the positive, because Obama is a significant part of the history of the United States. We're talking about an 8-year presidency that it takes his place alongside those 40-something other people who were unique individuals in the United States, who we name bridges for, we name roads for, we name airports for, all of them because of the things they accomplished in their having given something to the country, right? So we should be focused on that. I do want to just pick up on one negative issue that I'm interested to hear people's comments on, though, and that was that there was a lot of discussion, and I don't know, I didn't see two sides of the issue. I only saw it raised, but I didn't see it responded to, with regard to, obviously there was a big focus on hiring minority workers and minority-owned businesses to work on the Obama Center, which is very appropriate. But my understanding is, and there were a few articles about minority contractors with relatively small businesses who were stuck with unpaid bills in the millions for the work that they did. So it's one, and apparently the center doesn't have enough funds to pay them. So that was sort of troubling to me. I mean, it's important to use minority trades, but why would you use a minority trade and not pay them? And I don't know if there's a backstory behind that, of why the minority tradespeople who worked on Obama Center were left holding the bill. So maybe if someone wants to address that, but it shouldn't be the focus. It's sort of the side question that comes after saying, yes, this is a great legacy. It's a great achievement. It should be recognized, honored, put on a pedestal. It actually looks like a pedestal, the monument. So I think that should be the focus today.
Rabbi Cohen, thank you for that. Perspective is very important. But I must say this, across the country and across the world, in any business that you do, you're going to have some debt. You're going to have some challenges. So when you see it at that level, okay, it could be talked about, okay, but it doesn't escape any of us. I mean, countries owe debt. So, when you take on a project like the project Barack Obama has taken on, that could be possible. I would like Dr. Giddings and Dr. Griffith to weigh in on the perspective of Black businesses, new businesses that were definitely offered contracts to work on this center. I'm surprised that they would even make mention of that. Dr. Giddings, your take, followed by Dr. Griffith.
Well, actually, I really can't speak to that because I didn't hear about any of this is the first time I'm hearing about these comments, and I'm thinking Rabbi should follow his own advice and not add negativity to this. I mean, it was just such a positive experience for me. Maybe you can mention the free of charge to enter the center and various things. I feel like if I have nothing really good to say, I shouldn't really say anything at all. I kind of grew up that way. But I think that, even the president himself said he was focusing on the economy and helping the area, the people in the area, get jobs there at the restaurant, etc. The kids can come there and play. He just wanted to, lift that area. So all those other comments or whatever you read, I mean, I hadn't seen them and I hadn't read about them. So I really can't speak to it. I can just speak to just the joy and everything that went into the entire project and just what kind of tone the president is setting, and just focusing again on the people, et cetera, and the good things that are coming out of this center. So that's my take on that.
Very good. Before we bring in Dr. Griffith, Donatello, you're a small business owner, and
Yes.
you could relate if that's being talked about. You could probably relate. How would you respond to Rabbi Cohen spewing the good and some negative that came with the opening of this center?
Well, as a small business expert and someone who actually provides services with MWBE, MBE, and DBE programs, I actually think what Rabbi Cohen has talked about is prevalent and very important, with one clarification. And we can use New York State and New York City as a prime example. As right now, I have 18 companies that I'm taking through the minority certification process. And one of the largest complaints for small businesses who are working as subcontractors, right, or independently engaged under the prime contractor, regardless to if funds are coming from the state or city level or even federal level through SBA, there is a historical problem with the prime contractor. And then in this instance specifically, the prime contractor is Lakeside Alliance. So yes, there are many subcontractors and small business owners alleging that they are owed millions of dollars from the project. But the clarity that needs to be specified is that the Obama Presidential Center has fully paid 100% to the prime contractor, Lakeside Alliance, who is slow in paying those MWBEs, MBEs, and subcontractors. And I think what needs to be said there is that this brings highlight to things that are happening right here in New York. There needs to be more transparency, more accountability. And I'm just going to take a moment to reach back and remind you, our former mayor, Eric Adams, used to speak about how there was a limited amount of money before him here in New York going to actually Black, brown, women-owned businesses. And one of the biggest problems was getting the contracts and then getting them paid. So for clarity of this show, the Obama Foundation does not owe any money to the subcontractors. The money is owed by Lakeside Alliance. Whether or not Lakeside Alliance is a Black or brown owned business or a true prime, meaning someone other than a woman, other than a Black and brown person, I don't know. But perhaps on our next show, we can dive more into this, because I'm sure Rabbi Cohen is saying, hey, when we're talking about the city and president, we are very passionate about showing the negative aspects, and we also make sure we're on point. So this has nothing to do with our former president, but everything to do with that prime contractor.
Well, here is why it's important to have the conversation, because we're able to shed light. And it's important for us to get an understanding of what has happened, what has played out. Dr. Griffith, please chime in.
I'm hearing for the first time about the criticisms about monies owed, and I'm delighted that we've had a clarification from Donatello. But I want to come back to one of the things that Rabbi said, and that is criticism. Criticism is great if it's constructive. And I think the reflection of what Obama's presidency and Obama as a person has shown us is that he's amenable to criticism. Matter of fact, he has done things in spite of negatives and unconstructive criticism. And I personally believe that criticism is helpful if it is positive. It helps you to reflect. And so I see nothing wrong with looking to see where there are positives and negatives, provided that the criticism is constructive. It's not only pulling down. And we've seen evidence of leaders who have been negative. I mean, a certain personality in this nation even before the center was open, had all sorts of images about what the negative things or the garbage would look like in a couple of years. How is that helpful? Constructive criticism could be helpful. I had not heard anything, and I look forward to the clarification extension that Donatello started being there.
Thank you. I always say we have some of the best minds in the country, and there isn't anything that we can't speak to on this platform. We have every type of contributor here. So when we talk about reset, we reset the whole conversation. We have to take a commercial break, and we're coming back with the talks of US and Iran. It's been a back and forth, but where are we? We'll be coming back with Rabbi Cohen, who would lead that segment, Dr. Griffith, Donatello, and Dr. Giddings. We'll take a commercial break, and we will be right back.
At Roger Victor Archibald Civil Rights and Personal Injury Attorneys, we are family.
No matter what the case is, we go fight it. If you're looking for justice, you will get it. Roger will treat you like you is VIP. Come join you with the team, cause in this love form we treat you like family. Winning millions for clients since 1991. Family. Working together here as one, yeah. Family. So call us today at 718-237-1111 or visit our website at BrooklynATTY.com. From the shores of the Caribbean to the United States Courthouse, where clients are treated like people and not simply cases. Call us if you have a case involving police brutality, medical malpractice, construction accidents, automobile accidents, and all other personal injuries.
This is attorney Roger Archibald. Call me today at 718-237-1111. We are family.
Whatever your audiology needs are, we are here to help. Our full-time staff includes doctors of audiology, graduate student clinicians. We screen for, diagnose, and treat hearing loss in a diverse population of all ages. We work closely with primary care physicians, otolaryngologists, and other healthcare providers to ensure that we are treating the whole person, not just their hearing.
Drinking alcohol increases the risk of several types of cancer, including breast, colon, and throat cancer. Drinking less can lower your risk. You deserve to know the truth about alcohol and cancer. Get the facts. Visit nyc.gov/alcohol.
When it was time for my baby's vaccinations, I wasn't sure what to do. There was so much conflicting information. I didn't know what was real. But then I found out that since the 90s, childhood vaccines have saved over 1 million lives and prevented more than 500 million illnesses in children.
And like me, many parents worry. We all want to do what's best for our babies. So I went to my baby's doctor and I asked a lot of questions.
And got the answers I needed. I choose to vaccinate. Ask questions, get answers. Vaccinate.
Welcome back. Welcome back. This is the Reset Talk Show. Here we are. It's been 3 months and a couple of days, and we're still discussing the U.S. and Iran war. Now we're in talks, fragile talks, looking for a resolution, but we're yet to find a resolution with the Iran U.S. talks. I'd like to welcome in Rabbi Cohen. I want to lead with you this morning, Rabbi Cohen, because there's so much back and forth. Is there a resolution? We don't know. Every day we hear something different. And of course, there's big pushback coming from Iran, and our President Donald Trump, he would not take a backward step. He would continue with his rhetoric and his threats. What can you tell us, Rabbi Cohen?
Well, it was a very interesting point right now. The first thing I will say is if anyone can tell you exactly what's happening, they're lying, because a lot is going on behind the scenes. It's very difficult to know the real truth of what's happening. We have, on the one hand, the Trump people are talking to some important people in Iran who apparently, according to Trump, have made so it sounds very positive. The strait will open. We're going to work on the talks on the nuclear. And when you listen to Vance speak, he sounds like he feels that the end result of this is going to be that, Iran could actually become a docile giant that could be part of civilization. But there's a lot of factors in play. And one, of course, is the history of Iran, a country that cannot be trusted. And we know that past agreements were made. Now, it is happening. Trump's threats are part of the way that he does business. But I don't think that the bottom line is that he speaks loudly. He wants to keep everyone on edge. He doesn't want anyone to get too comfortable, because uncertainty is a strong suit in his hand. In his cards that he has, one of the cards is that you're always afraid that maybe he'll do something really devastating, as he has done already, and has really brought Iran to the table. So I think we're looking in a good place right now. Israel has concerns because of what's going on in Lebanon, and there it's a very, very interesting dynamic. Israel and Lebanon, with the help of Trump and the Marco Rubio faction in the White House, if you like, say, Israel and Lebanon, two sovereign countries, are in negotiations to get rid of the nasty terrorist group, which is Hezbollah, which is occupying North Lebanon and threatening Israel, shooting rockets, shooting missiles. And now in the deal in Iran, it seems that they've sort of agreed that to give Hezbollah a seat at the table, Hezbollah is only a bad actor. They need to be knocked out completely. The last UN resolution said that Hezbollah was not allowed to be in South Lebanon, but they are. So that's a very complicated picture, and people in Israel are very worried about that, because there should be no linkage between what happens in the Gulf and and what happens in Lebanon. Lebanon is a sovereign country. Israel and Lebanon can work to try and get rid of the evil army that's been hiding under the mountains of South Lebanon, with mobile rocket launchers ready to hit Israel at any moment. So that has to be dealt with. But in general, in terms of just Iran, USA per se, I think from a purely US point of view, the US is in a good position right now.
Thank you, Rabbi Cohen. I'd like to welcome in Dr. Griffith and the panel. Dr. Griffith, here we are, the US and Iran, there's a lot of mediators on board trying to find a resolution to end this war. But every day, we hear something different. What can you tell us? What can you share with us from your perspective?
J.R., let me make 3 observations. The issues before United States and Iran, even if you were to leave aside the Lebanon-Israel complexity, the issues are not amenable to quick fixing. And although I think hope springs eternal, no one who is realistically looking at the issues can feel comfortable that they will be resolved in 60 days. even if you were to leave aside the historical backdrop, and I'm so tickled sometimes when I hear some commentators talking about 1979 as if the history of Iranian US relations began in 1979. They forget about 1953. They forget about 1944, 1945. But even if you were to leave that historical backdrop out, the mix of complex issues in the package, that mix is not amenable to a 60-day fix. And here's my second point. It's not amenable to a 60-day quick fix, especially in the absence of confidence building. How can you think that you can have negotiations while you levy threats? You promise to bomb people if they don't do what you want in a certain timeline. A negotiation should be about building confidence, about lowering the decibel of threats, about having motivational, inspirational words rather than threats and criticisms and condemnation and the flip flopping. So I'm troubled by the abstinence of confidence building. Here, this leads me to my third and final point. Even without the complexity that is pregnant in these issues, negotiation should be led by competent professional diplomats. The person who is United States Secretary of State, who has the great distinction of being the second person in United States history to be both Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, he's nowhere in the scene. The head of the American diplomatic establishment is missing in action. So where are the professional diplomats? Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner mean well, but they don't have the competent skills to lead these negotiations. Even if you don't like the Obama team negotiations, that was a long-term, complex package of diplomats, lawyers, physicists, experts in nuclear energy, almost 2 years. So I'm hopeful, but on a pragmatic level, I'm worried. The absence of professional diplomats, the absence of confidence building, and these are complex. Even if you take one part of that package, the nuclear issue, you expect the people who you've killed their leader, you kill his family, you've killed 165 of their children, you expect them just to do what you want to do in a couple of months? Let's get real. We're looking at a long, drawn-out saga.
JR, I have to run, but I just want to jump in for 1 second on Dr. Griffin and just say one or two very good, important points, and then I'm going to jump off. There are two things. First of all, I think that exactly what you're asking for is what's there now. The reason that Witkoff and Vance and Kushner are there is because they are the soft touch, right? So Witkoff embraces them. He wants to be their friend. He wants to hear them out. And that's one side of it. But you have to remember, you're talking the Middle East. This is not a negotiation between normal countries. You're talking about a country that's theological basis is to destroy America, to destroy the West. So as much as you can be nice, but the language of that region of the world is you have to have an iron fist very carefully behind that nice soft glove. Because if you don't, they're going to pounce on it and they're going to destroy you. So I think actually it's very well balanced right now. The reason you don't see Marco Rubio there, first of all, Marco Rubio is there because he's going to all the neighboring Arab countries who have worked with us and have been targeted by Iran to get their temperature on the situation, which is very, very important diplomacy. And that's happening right now. He went to UAE, he went to Bahrain, he went to the other neighboring countries to see what the neighborhood thinks about this, which is the matter over here. And I think that as far as the 60 days, I agree with you. They do have teams that are going now to negotiate the more complex issues, but you have to remember it's not 60 days. Trump is not going to do anything now until after November. So he wants to drag this out over a few months, keep relative calm, and then we're going to figure out the big picture. after the November election. So I think that's what we're looking at right now. Dr. Griffin is not totally wrong, but we have to, you have to speak the language of the neighborhood also. I'm going to jump, but it's an important conversation.
It's okay, Rabbi. Thank you for your time. I know that you're super busy this morning. But Dr. Griffith, let's lean in a little bit on what the rabbi just said. Okay, through your lens, okay, you're seeing that killing and threatening people is not going to get the job done. Rabbi is saying you got to have the heart and the soft touch, and I think that's our biggest challenge. How we see this war, how we see what's going on. I don't think we're all seeing it through the same lens, okay? And I think that's our problem.
There's a concept called Miles' Law. Where you stand depends on where you sit.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to Bahrain. I've been to Qatar. I've been to Iran. And to demonize and say that these are not normal countries, that these are theocracies. One can argue that Israel is a theocracy. I think it is foolhardy for us to expect that with the history that United States and Iran have, with the recent destruction of their property and their people, you can do the flip-flop of having one person be the nice talking guy and then the head guy condemning, criticizing, threatening. Where is the building trust that is critical to getting an agreement? Even if it were to take a whole year, you cannot continuously be harassing people psychologically by threatening them. Let me hit you so you can come to the table. And do what?
Right.
Well, Dr. Griffith, when you listen to some of the MAGA people, you hear them saying, "Oh, Trump is only saying that; he doesn't mean it." We need to talk tough to these people because that's all they understand. I don't know, because these people grew up with bombs, fighting, losing family members, and they will continue to fight their fight. So, I think we're at I think Trump is in a precarious position because he thought that he would have been able to go in there and just bomb Iran and it would be over.
JR, it's not just Trump who is in a precarious position. He surely is. There are countries around the world where they're beginning to have already rationing of food.
Mm-hmm.
Because the impact of the fertilizers that come through the straits is affecting production. There are countries, and not only countries in the global south, what used to be called the third world, countries in the so-called developed world, where rationing, where factories are doing part production because they're conserving the energy. It is not only the precarious position of the United States and Trump, it's a precarious position of many parts of the world. We didn't start this thing. We don't have a direct dog in the fight, but are suffering the consequences. Our own region of the Caribbean, I did an analysis for the Inter-American Dialogue a few months ago, showed that there's good news and bad news. For Guyana, which is getting more money because of the oil, it's good news. But for the very Guyana, prices of everything are increased. You go to the small parts of the Caribbean, the small islands, the situation is, to use a term of inart by a former Guyanese official, the situation is not just chaotic, it's chautic.
Well, Dr. Griffith, if you're gonna say chautic, could you break that down for us?
The gentleman had a difficulty with pronunciation. He wanted to say chaotic, but in nice Guyanese dramatic flair, he wanted to emphasize that it is not ordinary chaos. It is chaos on steroids. He said it is not just chaotic, it's chaotic. Chaos on steroids.
I love it. Oh my God.
So, Donatella and Dr. Giddings,
Yes.
quickly, as we talk US, Iran, and the back and forth and the back and forth, and every day you hear, we're going to sign this peace deal, and then the next day it's off, and then the next day we're going to close the Strait of Hormuz, and it's just back and forth. Quickly, Donatella. Okay, go ahead, Dr. Giddings.
Well, as I've been saying from the beginning, this was self-inflicted, okay? We shouldn't have been here in the first place. He was warned, as the previous administrations were warned, not to do this. And so he went ahead and did this. And now we're capitulating, literally. He has really lost the war. So he's just really trying to save face, okay? As, Dr. Griffith made some very salient and excellent points. The JCPOA had about 159 pages. This MOU is 2 pages, okay? So basically it's allowing Iran to sell oil in dollars, which never happened before in decades. Trump is defending letting Iran maintain missile arsenal. So, he had said they shouldn't have missiles, previously. And now they're probably going to charge to go through the strait because they're in charge of the strait. And no matter what he says, that's it. He was warned by General Kane, the Chief Joint Committee General, that if this happens, they would take control of the strait. So now it's all happening. He's just losing all over the place, which is great because, he shouldn't have done this. Again, it's self-inflicted. And we just have to get out of this the best way we can. There's a lot of noise about, Vance saying that the talks are going well. They're having the IAEA go in and inspect. And then the Iranians are saying, no, that's not happening. But I mean, it has to happen if there's going to be any kind of decision on what's going on with the nuclear program. So it's all just, and then again with the rhetoric and the threats. I mean, according to Dr. Griffith, that's not going to help. He almost imploded the whole deal where Vance was talking to them. And I agree with Dr. Griffith on there's no experts, there's no nuclear scientists, there's no engineers, there's no one there. But you have people who have really benefited from doing business deals there. The son-in-law, Jared Kushner, that's why he's there. I think he's got $5 billion from them, et cetera. So it's almost, the corruption is really overwhelming. It's all there. That's what's going on. And basically, we are, again, surrendering and capitulating everything. And the deal is not going to be anything like the JCPOA. Okay, it's going to be some facsimile thereof, but nothing like it because we've lost all of our leverage.
I wanted before too long to hold up. This is a picture of this same Ivor Griffith 2 decades ago. We were sailing in this aircraft carrier, the USS Ronald Reagan, in the Persian Gulf. One black guy with the captain and some other experts. I've been to Bahrain, I've been to Qatar, I've been to Iran, I've been to the Middle East. Let's not demonize people because they're religiously grounded. They've got rights. This is a civilization several thousands of years old. We're celebrating 250 years of America's independence. These people have been around eons. Let's not put them down.
And JR, very quickly, I wanted to applaud my colleagues for speaking about the facts and the war and how it's been going on. But I also want to hone in on what Professor Ivor Griffith just said, right? when our rabbi was speaking and referring to these individuals, my brain thought about how this own administration and people who think like MAGA talked about how Black and brown people didn't deserve freedom, and that we can't handle money, we can't handle business. And so it makes me go back to the image that you shared with that quote where President Trump says, you close it and you won't have a country. You won't even make it back to your effing country. And so when I think about that, just thinking about the language in itself that stands out to me, and not necessarily talking about the policy, President Trump has built much of his political brand around speaking direct, forceful, around having very provocative ways in which to say things. And I agree that you can't sit here and say that those people, how do you know that those people won't react a certain way if you talk to them like humans, right? The same way that we here are fighting every day to have people who don't look like us talk to us like humans, not take away all of our rights. I do agree, like you said, JR, that many of the individuals there have grown up seeing images of America just stepping all over them and taking resources for them, or responsible for lives lost. But the quote raises important questions for me as well. How do our leaders communicate during times of disagreement? I think that words matter. They can inspire confidence. They can also create fear, to make those people do just the things that we're afraid of them doing, right? So I just want to close out with saying, as someone who believes in civic engagement, I also believe in respectful dialogue, something that I continuously don't see our president doing, both internationally and here at home with us.
Well said, Donatella. Coming back over to Dr. Griffith again. You hear Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump repeatedly saying peace through strength. How do you break that down, Dr. Griffith?
There is something to be said for peace through strength, but there is also something to be said for peace through the absence of arrogance. You can be strong, but not remind the people in the weak part of the neighborhood that you're going to beat them up unless they do what you want. You can be strong, but have civility as part of your engagement. You can be strong, but extend a hand to build bridges rather than create walls. And I think the dissonance you see between the pretense to wanting peace and the words and the actions that are not peaceful, that for me is what is reeking of hypocrisy. In no one of the conversations from the Secretary of Defense, the President, is there anything that says we want to have civility? Everything is about arrogance, it's about hubris, it's about strength. But at the same time, this country was supposed to be built as the beacon of international law. International law has gone out the window for the last couple of years. This nation was supposed to be built on values. Values are no longer part of the conversation. So I think it is putting your money where your mouth is. There is a disconnect between where the money is. The money is doing things that are aggressive and hypocritical and arrogant, but wanting outcomes that are different. Why would you expect the people who, since 2003, by a very religious edict, said they are not going to be building a nuclear weapon? They've said it since 2003. But you criticize them for being mullahs. But the mullahs said they're not going to build. Hypocrisy on steroids. I'll stop there.
Dr. Griffith, Dr. Giddings, Donatella, when you pay close attention to Donald Trump and some of the rhetoric, in an interview, I would say maybe 2 or 3 days ago, um, he was asked about power, and he came back and he said, I didn't realize how much power I have as the president of the United States, but I know how to use power. And when you listen to that, you have to wonder, because he's certainly wielding power uh, like no other
Like a bully.
as no other president. So when you have to understand who we're dealing with, and it's very, very, very concerning. But people have to start thinking that Donald Trump is just spewing things here and there. Uh, could could you wrap up on that before we talk about Clive Davis? Could you tell us what do you see from this president with how he is wielding power?
I don't know if it's in the
Is that
I don't know if it's in the
too?
same
I'm
interview,
sorry.
JR, but I saw a clip of a conversation involving a journalist where the journalist asked President Trump, what has he learned about the limits of presidential power?
Mm.
He said that there are no limits. No limits. That attitude is not only a reflection of the practice of the last couple of years, it's a reflection of an attitude that will be positively unhelpful going forward. Because if you see and you sense that there are no limits, you're going to exercise not only arrogance internationally, but I worry about what you see the need to do domestically come the November 2026 elections if you are anticipating your party losing. What will you do that is no limits? So I think there's a direct connection between the attitudes and practices internationally and the potential for terrible outcomes in our domestic space. Because if you think there are no limits to your power, you therefore believe you should have power when you say you should have power. And if you anticipate your party is going to lose in one or both houses, you are going to do some things that are going to be destructive, not only of the nation, but destructive of parts of the world that depend upon this nation's business internationally. So hope springs eternal, but there's cause to be concerned.
Yeah, and it just as the professor was talking, it brought home to me, that idiom, charity begins at home. And if he's not charitable at home, he's not going to be charitable abroad. Plus, there's no humanity here. He's not showing humanity to his people. So how can he show humanity elsewhere? So it all comes down to the same thing. He's just happy with power. Apparently bombing doesn't help anything. You need to use diplomacy, and he's not doing any of those things. So we're definitely in dire straits right now.
And
Yeah, I've got to sign off. Excuse me, please. I've got to go do some grandfatherly duties.
Absolutely, absolutely. See you soon, Dr. Griffith.
Thank you much. Have a wonderful rest of the week.
You as well. Donatella, Dr. Giddings,
Yes.
you wanted to say something, Donatella, before we take a commercial break and come back to Clive Davis.
Yes.
Please.
Very, very quickly. I think what we're all speaking about, and this this what's the word? This zest, this need for power, it's funny that he should say at some point he didn't know how powerful he was or he is as president. One of the defining characteristics of President Trump's second administration has been his extensive use of executive orders. So, as of June 2026, he signed roughly about 266 executive orders, already more than he signed during his entire first term, and significantly more than President Biden issued during his entire 4 years in office. So from that perspective, he absolutely knows how powerful he is. He absolutely believes that his power is endless, both domestic and international. And like Professor Griffith said, while he's talking about building this ballroom and renovating, I had a nightmare that he actually has been renovating a bunker, and when it's time for him to leave, he's going to lock in inside the White House and he's not going to come out. And I think that is a huge concern. And while we galvanize our neighbors to get out and vote, don't know how well people did yesterday here in New York City, I think it's something we should pay attention to, because he is talking to us domestically as a bully and also talking the same way. And so I was told, when a person tells you who they are, believe them the first time.
Well, Donatella, I have to make a little comment on that. He has been bullying his way through, but the federal judges are really coming against him. He's really experiencing a lot of losses right now, and that's really good. So it really shows that pushback works. I mean, he's just done so many things. One of the things bringing Elon Musk in with the Doge cuts. And
Yes.
with that, especially with USAID, which is near and dear to my heart, they cut that, and now millions of people are dying per year. And so he's going to have to be held accountable for that. And, our standing in the world is just destroyed. The whole economy is been destroyed. He's done so many things, but he's experiencing losses now because all of those warehouses that he purchased apparently has to be sold back. The federal judges are coming against, are saying no to the subpoenas that he subpoenaed Waltz and Frey. That Florida alligators Alcatraz prison that he had is shutting down.
Yeah.
So everything is coming to fruition right now, and we're starting to see a lot of losses on his part. So we just have to keep pushing back.
Thank you, Dr. Giddings. Once again, we have some of the best minds in the country, and just listen to the perspectives that were brought to the table this morning. We'll take a commercial break, and when we come back, we are remembering the legendary mogul and Clive Davis. He has died at age 94. We'll take a commercial break, and we will be right back.
Whatever your audiology needs are, we are here to help. Our full-time staff includes doctors of audiology, graduate student clinicians. We screen for, diagnose, and treat hearing loss in a diverse population of all ages. We work closely with primary care physicians, otolaryngologists, and other healthcare providers to ensure that we are treating the whole person, not just their hearing.
When it was time for my baby's vaccinations, I wasn't sure what to do. There was so much conflicting information. I didn't know what was real. But then I found out that since the 90s, childhood vaccines have saved over 1 million lives and prevented more than 500 million illnesses in children.
And like me, many parents worry. We all want to do what's best for our babies. So I went to my baby's doctor and I asked a lot of questions.
And got the answers I needed. I choose to vaccinate. Ask questions, get answers. Vaccinate.
Drinking alcohol increases the risk of several types of cancer, including breast, colon, and throat cancer. Drinking less can lower your risk. You deserve to know the truth about alcohol and cancer. Get the facts. Visit nyc.gov/alcohol.
Hi, I'm Rabbi Eli Cohen, and I'm excited to introduce you to the new location of the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council Social Service Center. This is where you can continue to get help for seniors with Medicare, Social Security, any problems with SCREE applications and renewals. We have our health navigator who can provide you with health insurance for your family. We have Medicaid and SNAP applications, of course, and our well-known free business counseling for small businesses. So we're looking forward to greeting you at our new location. We're at the corner of Kingston Avenue and Lefferts Avenue in Brooklyn. Call me, Rabbi Eli Cohen, 718-771-9000, and we're here to serve you.
Welcome back. This is the Reset Talk Show. We are remembering Clive Davis, the Grammy-winning record producer and music industry executive, behind the careers of Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, and so many more. It's important that we pay tribute to him because without his genius, we wouldn't be able to really enjoy Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, and more. Welcome in Dr. Giddings, welcome in Donatella. Dr. Giddings, how do you reflect on Clive Davis, the Grammy-winning record producer? He passed away on Monday, and tributes are pouring in across the world, especially from a lot of not only Black artists, but artists, period.
Yes, a very, very sad time. Another icon gone. And he, at 94, he lived a nice long life, but he contributed so much to music. I mean, it shaped the modern pop charts. He had like about 50 years of hits. He was just amazing. And, not only behind Aretha and Whitney, but he was also behind Bruce Springsteen, The Grateful Dead, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, Jennifer Hudson, Alicia Keys. I mean, Barack Obama said it best when he actually acknowledged him at the beginning of this year. He said, most folks don't realize how much of the music they love, the soundtrack of their lives, was shaped by one man. And then he said, so Clive, thank you for trusting the music. I mean, he said it so well. So as you said, there's lots of tributes coming in for different people, various artists. The New York Times said he's a hit-making titan of the music industry. So it's just a lot, and it's just really sad. But it's great to know that we can go forward listening to all these great artists and all the music and just think of him, and thank him, as Barack Obama said, for trusting the music. So he will be sorely missed, but we do have all his gifts to us over time.
Thank you, Dr. Giddings. Again, audience, if you're just joining us, we are remembering Clive Davis, the Grammy-winning record producer and music industry executive behind some of our great voices like Whitney Houston and Aretha Franklin. Donatella, how do you reflect on this giant?
Well, as you've already stated, Mr. Clive Davis was a visionary who helped shape the soundtrack of generations. And since our platform has such an international reach, I thought I would spend my minute or two speaking about Mr. Davis as if some of our viewers had never heard of him, right? So the passing of Clive Davis marks the end of one of the most influential careers in music history, as you've heard. For more than 6 decades, Mr. Davis was not a performer, songwriter, or musician. He was something arguably just as important as you've heard, a talent scout, a mentor, an executive, a visionary who helped discover, develop, and elevate some of the greatest artists of all time. Beginning his career, I believe, at Columbia Records before later founding Arista Records and J Records, Mr. Davis possessed what many in the industry called a golden ear. An extraordinary ability to identify talent and recognize songs that could resonate with audiences around the world. His influence extended past across rock, pop, R&B, soul, country, jazz, hip hop, and even contemporary music. I think his impact is, you know, there aren't any words for me to say. But as we listed some of the artists, I put together some names just to throw out really quickly at the end. So we already said Whitney Houston, Alicia Keys, Bruce Springsteen, Aretha Franklin, Barry Manilow, Carlos Santana, Janis Joplin, Billy Joel, Patti Smith, Dionne Warwick, Jennifer Hudson, Rod Stewart, Luther Vandross, Toni Braxton, Notorious B.I.G. while I'm sitting in Brooklyn, Outkast, TLC, Santana, Aerosmith, Simon and Garfunkel, Bob Dylan, Barbara Streisand, Johnny Cash, and one of my family, my biological father's favorite, Earth, Wind, and Fire. So if you are watching the show and you don't know who Clive Davis is, take some time out to do your research. Because like we said already, chances are you are humming or singing to a song that was influenced by his contribution.
Absolutely. Clive Davis was so instrumental to so many. And the beautiful thing about it, here's a man that didn't see color because a lot of those artists were black and brown. So we definitely salute him this morning. And it's important that, we give him his due. And I think Dr. Giddings and Donatella, you guys were masterful and definitely expanding on who Clive Davis was. Next up, there's so much going on in the world of sports.
Mm-hmm.
We're here. We have the FIFA soccer tournament going on. We have a big trade with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and so much. But let's start off with Serena Williams. The Queen is back, and a lot of conversations around her coming back. And in the height of Serena's career, there was always talk about her being on steroids because of how powerful she was.
Mm-hmm.
As far as her serving and what have you. Now there's a little conversation, but the GLP-1 drug that she has used to get herself into the best shape in the world. There's so many conversations, but what's important? The world is on fire. Everybody's excited about Serena being back. And now she's going to be playing in the singles at Wimbledon. Let's leave with you again, Dr. Giddings. What is your reaction to Serena gracing the stage again with Coco and all of the young athletes that are out there that are doing their thing?
Oh, I just love it. I'm a tennis fan, and I was actually just watching Venus the other day. I'm so glad that she got a wild card. She's coming back with her sister Venus doing the doubles at Wimbledon, and then she also got a wild card to do the ladies singles at Wimbledon. So I'm going to be stuck to the TV screen watching that whole thing. And I mean, look, she is great. I mean, 23-time Grand Slam champion and returning to the grass court. I mean, what more can you ask for? I mean, her determination, her strength, her resolve is great. As we said earlier, I don't pay attention to the negative. Everyone does what they need to do for their health and well-being. The GLP-1 thing, I think it was actually good for her. She had a lot of issues, medical issues, and then after her pregnancies, her metabolism wasn't working as it should, and so the GLP-1s helped her. And she's looking fit, she is healthy. There's really no negatives or negative side effects behind the GLP-1s. It's actually a really good addition to medicine right now. It's helping a lot of people, people with diabetes, if they're overweight, and it also prevents a lot of other long-term medical issues, cardiac, metabolic, liver, etc. So I'm glad she did what was good for her. I'm glad she's in the best shape coming back at 44. As I mentioned previously, Martina Navratilova, she made a return to the singles in 2004 at the French Opening after being absent for 10 years. Serena has been absent for 4. Martina also won a singles match at the first round of Wimbledon at 47 years old and 8 months. So she was the oldest player to win professional singles match at that time. And then she capped her career by winning the mixed doubles title in her 41st major doubles title at the 206 US Open, the oldest champion ever to win at 49. So Serena is in great company. And I think she just wants to cap off her career as well. And I think she's also coming back to demonstrate to her daughters, how it is to compete, see her out there on the field, and it teaches them, who their mom is and what she's about and what she does. So I think it's all in all a really great thing. I like to keep the negative out of it. It's always positive, but there's always going to be naysayers. But I say to those naysayers, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say nothing at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Donatella, give us your impressions on Serena at Wimbledon in the next couple of days.
Yes. What I love most about Serena Williams' comeback isn't that it's about proving anything to anybody. She's already cemented her place as one of the greatest athletes of all time. This comeback to me is about passion, perseverance, and showing the next generation, including her own daughters, that it's never too late to pursue what you love. And from a personal perspective, as a person who's kind of rebirthing myself at the moment, it's powerful, especially as a woman of color. Watching Serena continue to redefine what's possible is incredibly exciting. She's spent decades breaking down barriers, changing perceptions, and elevating women's sports. Whether she wins Wimbledon or not, the fact that she's stepping back on the court at 44 years old, to me, is already a victory. Serena Williams has always been bigger than tennis. She represents excellence, resilience, and the courage to write your own story. And even when the world thinks the final chapter has already been written, and I just want to leave with this one little quote that I made up myself in regards to her. Champions aren't defined by how many times they win. They are defined by their willingness to keep showing up, keep competing, and keep inspiring others. And dear Serena Williams, you inspire me that I can start over with anything I'm doing in life and also be equally as successful.
Absolutely. Donatella, Dr. Giddings, I'm so happy to sit here with you powerhouse females and talk about Serena Williams. But, right now, basketball is at an all-time high here in New York City after the Knicks just won. But big news, there was a blockbuster trade with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now he's now a Miami Heat, and um, this creates matchup problems in the East. So if you've been living under a rock, one of the biggest trades that have happened within the last day or last 2 days is Giannis Antetokounmpo now being a Miami Heat. Now we're talking sports because everything is happening here in America right now. And let's talk a little bit about the World Cup and soccer. Let's talk about Lionel Messi. And I'm sure we're going to have a pic of him pretty soon. Lionel Messi has become the all-time leading goal scorer in World Cup history. Yeah, he has become the all-time leader, okay, in World Cup history as far as a goal scorer. And then, of course, that's Messi up there. He's made history. I want to repeat it again. He has become the all-time leading goal scorer in World Cup history.
Wow.
And then we have Cristiano Ronaldo. He has become the first player to score in 6 different World Cup tournaments. Soccer is really reviving our economy, and it's so important that we highlight these athletes. I mean, where would we be, okay, in America, okay, without the sport of soccer? Look what's happening at the Meadowlands. This is a great time. So, we wanted to acknowledge all these athletes and what they're doing, how they're doing it. And it's a beautiful time to be living not only in America, but in New York City, because we have games every week, 2-3 games, championship games. And of course, the American team is doing well. They're 2-0, they're 2 wins. This is probably the best American team that we have had playing soccer. Being able to score the amount of goals they've scored, I mean, they're definitely setting records. So, we had to give our take on the World Cup here in the United States. And it's a pleasure to sit here and be a part of the biggest sport in the world. So, that's our roundup on sports for today. We touched on Serena. We touched on Giannis Antetokounmpo being a Miami Heat. And of course, we just touched on Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. So
by the
here we
way,
are.
Messi just turned 39 today.
Happy birthday, Messi.
There's nothing like great conversation, making sure that we stay in the loop and keep our audience in the loop, because a lot of people love soccer. Soccer is a major, major sport.
Can I ask something, JR, real quick? Did you know that the draft was at the Barclays last night? I'm so mad that I walked past. I didn't know all this greatness was happening right in our backyard. This past week, it's just so many things happening at once.
Yeah, well, the Barclays Center has hosted the NBA draft for the last 13 years. So
I didn't know it was last night, though.
Yeah, it was last night. At least 30 young men are now accomplishing their dreams of being an NBA player. So special. It's a wonder to behold, to sit down and listen to some of these young athletes talk about their journey, and we get to hear about how important it is to be a good mother and a good father, because a lot of them, their role models are their parents.
Yes.
And it says a lot. So yes, the NBA draft was held at the Barclays Center last night. It was a big to-do.
It was watching them arrive with their families and seeing the nervous jitters of the mothers, the sisters, a few girlfriends. It was really incredible.
And the one thing that was on display once again is the fashion. Those guys were really bringing it with their style, their creativity, and that's important.
Well,
And
JR, you are bringing it with your style today. I'm liking that paisley print you've got on there.
with the Miami white blazer. Always.
Look, I sit among you, amazing, brilliant, and beautiful women. So at least I could look good as I moderate some of the best in the country. The other thing that I wanted to mention, if we're talking New York and we're talking Brooklyn, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke has won her re-election bid.
I voted for her.
And she will be on next week as she continues to do her work. Not only is she the congresswoman, but don't forget, she's the chair of the Black Caucus. So great things are happening. Great things are happening in our city. But here we are at the bottom of the hour, heading to the top of the hour. Dr. Giddings, we always touch on a health segment. And there's so much that we have overlooked for the last week. And this Ebola, is really on the radar. Is there anything that you could tell us about Ebola and the concerns?
Well, just a quick update. We hadn't talked about it so far in the show, but this Ebola had been around during Obama's time, and he really got us through that and without any issues. And he also created a pandemic manual, which was thrown out by the next administration. But with this Ebola, what happened was, because of the cuts in USAID that occurred in the beginning of the year, that prevented a lot of the surveillance, a lot of the medications, and all of that to be distributed there. And also, they cut a lot of the CDC scientists that were there. And so we didn't find out about this virus broaching international borders until it was too late. It was weeks into the Ebola outbreak that we found out about it. And one of the doctors there, he was infected, and I believe his wife, and had to be flown out and treated in Germany, etc. And just a lot of things that had been going on with that. So now they're back on their heels. They're trying to re-engage. They're sending CDC out there. They're sending more aid, etc. But it's not supposed to really affect anyone here right now, because it has not broached our borders. There's some entry sites. I believe JFK is an entry site for people coming in to be checked and screened. There's another airport in DC, Houston here, the Houston International Airport, and I think Atlanta. These are all sites to kind of manage and maintain what's going on with the whole Ebola outbreak. So it hasn't touched us yet, but we're really scrambling to prevent anything from happening on our borders. But as I said previously, viruses don't have passports. So we have to be really, really careful. We were one of the biggest international protection from the US to all these international countries to prevent this type of things from happening. When we are part of the WHO, which he pulled out of, when we are part of this whole world system, we protect ourselves, okay? It's all in our interest. So whatever they did, and as I said, Elon Musk led the charge on the USAID, which is coming home to roost soon for him. He's now a trillionaire. Just imagine a trillionaire taking food out of the mouth of babes. It's really, really horrific. But right now, the US is not really concerned about Ebola, because we're really working to prevent anything from happening here. So far we're safe. But if we don't re-engage and don't, get back in with the WHO and send the scientists out there, we are really going to have a problem on our hands.
Dr. Giddings, I will say this about all of our contributors. Man, do you guys make us wiser? Just to get that information, just to know where we are, just to know the things that we have to do to prevent disaster in this country. Just to have the science, it's important. So thank you for that update on Ebola. And I have a book from Dr. Massey on Ebola. He played a major role. And I'm going to go into that book a little bit. I was supposed to do this since last year. But yeah, Dr. Massey was one of those people who was very instrumental in ridding this Ebola from different parts of the world. We want to take another commercial break, and then when we come back with our closings. We'll take another commercial break, and we will be right back with Donatella and Dr. Giddings.
At Roger Victor Archibald Civil Rights and Personal Injury Attorneys, we are family.
No matter what the case is, we go fight it. If you're looking for justice, you will get it. Roger will treat you like you is VIP. Come join the winning team, cause in this love for we treat you like family. Winning millions for clients since 1991. Family. Working together here as one, yeah. Family. So call us today at 718-237-1111 or visit our website at BrooklynATTY.com. From the shores of the Caribbean to the United States Courthouse, where clients are treated like people and not simply cases. Call us if you have a case involving police brutality, medical malpractice, construction accidents, automobile accidents, and all other personal injuries.
This is attorney Roger Archibald. Call me today at 718-237-1111. We are family.
Whatever your audiology needs are, we are here to help. Our full-time staff includes doctors of audiology, graduate student clinicians. We screen for, diagnose, and treat hearing loss in a diverse population of all ages. We work closely with primary care physicians, otolaryngologists, and other healthcare providers to ensure that we are treating the whole person, not just their hearing.
Drinking alcohol increases the risk of several types of cancer, including breast, colon, and throat cancer. Drinking less can lower your risk. You deserve to know the truth about alcohol and cancer. Get the facts. Visit nyc.gov/alcohol.
When it was time for my baby's vaccinations, I wasn't sure what to do. There was so much conflicting information. I didn't know what was real. But then I found out that since the 90s, childhood vaccines have saved over 1 million lives and prevented more than 500 million illnesses in children.
And like me, many parents worry. We all want to do what's best for our babies. So I went to my baby's doctor and I asked a lot of questions.
And got the answers I needed. I choose to vaccinate. Ask questions, get answers. Vaccinate.
Welcome back. This is the Reset Talk Show. Another day, a lot of storylines and more storylines and more storylines. I'll welcome in Donatella and Dr. Giddings.
Oh, I'm on mute.
Yeah, so Donatella, I heard about this story this morning. I know that we always want to inform our audience and show that you're bipartisan here. We talk about whatever is in the news. And this morning, a major political story broke in New York City as Frank Carone, former chief of staff of longtime, former chief of staff and longtime confidant to former Mayor Eric Adams, was arrested by federal authorities as a part of an ongoing corruption investigation. You know, it just keeps coming. We have to report it, but we have to really see what else breaks when it comes to our former mayor. So let's pick up right there, Donatella. What do you want to add to that?
Well, to be clear, right now, things are still at an accusations state. And I think it's important to remember, much like social media, just because you hear a topic and you hear of an arrest, we always must remember that people are innocent until proven guilty. And when I read the storyline and it said, there was a hotel that was supposed to receive a contract, and initially that contract was not obtained. And then after some alleged intervention of the mayor's aide, then that hotel received the contract. I just think about how I work with the MWB MBE program, right? And people hire me for my expertise, and a lot of them have been declined loans. And sometimes that so-called intervention is all about knowledge, right? It's not influence. Sometimes it's that the bid wasn't received in a proper time, or the bid paperwork wasn't completed. And we're talking about a relatively small amount of money, $100,000. I do believe that if someone of Cardone's level and expertise and reach were looking to defraud the city, it wouldn't be for $100,000, right? So I'm hoping that as the process moves forward, that like each of the others who have had some accusations formed against him, that his defense attorneys will be able to, correct any improper, correct the situation so that there's no jail time. But I just want to keep in mind, I think this administration, meaning like the federal level and some others, have a real strong need to find something wrong with the previous administration. They've been at it for quite a long time. And I just think when someone says $100,000 and a public official did something wrong, I think it would be more like the numbers that we're hearing coming out of Minnesota, right? Millions and millions of dollars, or the dollars that our current president is earning from all of this money of selling coins, selling sneakers, selling cologne, creating telephones, so that's just my feedback.
Well, Donatella, the first thing that jumps out of everyone is the alignment with the former mayor. I'm not going to say much because everyone thinks that I'm a big supporter of Eric Adams, which I certainly was because of who he is and some of the positive things that he has done. But not every time something happens and you hear how they're connected to the mayor, it really has the former mayor. It has anything to do with him, because you can put someone in a position and you just don't know what he or she might do. But it's a big story, and we had to talk a little bit about it. So Donatella, we're almost at the end of another episode today. And your closing remarks.
Yes, yes. I'm super excited to share my thoughts. As we close today's edition of the Reset Talk Show, we've covered a wide range of topics that remind us just how connected our entire world truly is, from the continuing tensions involving Iran and the global pursuit of peace and stability to the meaning behind the phrase of peace with strength. We've been reminded that leadership decisions made thousands of miles away can have real impact on us right here at home. We celebrated the remarkable return of Serena Williams, which I'm super excited about. How greatness is not defined by age, but by determination, resilience, and the courage to continue pursuing your passion, which I intend to do as well. Her comeback serves as inspiration to anyone who has ever been told their best days are behind them. And young people, remember, when it comes to your elders, one day you hope to be one. So don't be so quick to put our best part behind us. And as a woman of color, I especially am inspired by watching the opening of the Obama Presidential Center. It stands as a powerful, powerful reminder of history, education, leadership, and service, and how much they matter to our nation. It is more than a building. It is a symbol of possibility and the future generations, and it has certainly earned a place on my must-visit list, and hopefully as a group, we will go there as well. We also highlighted the incredible impact of FIFA 2026 and how it is helping our small businesses, our energy within New York City and New Jersey as the world gathers in our region through the universal language of sports. The tournament has brought cultures together, strengthened our economical local economies, and reminded us the power of international unity and competition. Lastly, just want to say, this is Donatella C. reminding you the world is hungry for knowledge, hungry for understanding, and hungry for connection. And I look forward to being the best part, or one of the best parts, of the Reset Talk Show next week. See you all here.
Thank you, Donatella. Dr. Giddings, your closing remarks today.
Yes, another great show. I would like to end by giving a health spotlight. Now, there's some new cardiac guidelines that's put out by the American College of Cardiology and the American Heart Association, which is recommending that instead of waiting until midlife or after symptoms appear, you want to do early screening, and it's now recommended to help prevent heart attacks and strokes before they happen. And so the heart risk evaluation is now recommended to start as early as 30, reflecting the growing evidence that heart disease develops gradually over the decades. So the guidelines are recommending a one-time lipoprotein blood test for most adults, because an elevated lipoprotein test is a genetically inherited risk factor for heart disease that often goes undetected with just a standard cholesterol test. So knowing this number can help you act sooner. So these are one of the recommendations by the American Heart Association and, as I said, the American College of Cardiology. So talk to your physician about when you go in for your checkup. Young adults around age 30, you want to ask them about this blood test, in addition to your cholesterol screenings, etc., that you get done. And then also remember, it's summer. Everyone is doing the water, so make sure that you be safe in water. Teach your little kids how to swim. Try to supervise them at the beach and at the pool. And teenagers can also learn CPR as well as adults, and be aware of natural waters such as the rip currents, and waves. And being on the beach, the recommendation is don't fall asleep on the beach, because they have these waves that sneak up on you, etc. So be really careful. And with the summer coming on too, look for symptoms of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Heat exhaustion, you may feel dizzy, thirsty, just heavy sweating. And then if it can lead to confusion and dizziness, which is heat stroke, and you can become unconscious. So be really careful, seek immediate medical care, call 911 if you're seeing some of these symptoms. And again, we're coming, you just had primaries in New York, and the voting season is here for midterms. Make sure everybody has a plan to vote. Notify your friends, families. We have to vote to change what's going on in this administration now. So everybody have a really good rest of your week and weekend, and we'll see you here next time, same place.
Thank you, Dr. Giddings. Thank you, Donatella. Once again, I want to thank the panelists and the contributors today. Of course, we heard from Rabbi Cohen and his perspective. Rabbi Cohen's perspective sheds light on the other side, the way a lot of people see things in this country. So we were thankful for his perspective and his views, and it warrants good conversation, and we were able to break it down. I want to thank Dr. Griffith, the author. What an incredible mind. The way he's able to frame the conversation, the way he's able to break it down. We have to thank him. And of course, Donatella, our small business expert, she was able to break down the criticism of the building of the Obama Presidential Center. She was able to shed light on the negative talks, the negative conversation. She was able to put it in perspective for us, Dr. Giddings, when we talk about science and we talk about health. Without these amazing contributors, we wouldn't be the reset. All right, I want to thank you. I want to thank everyone for trusting us and letting us come into your homes every Wednesday. Follow us on all of our online platforms. Follow us, of course, on YouTube, which is the Reset Talk Show NY. From all of us here at the Reset, please join us again next Wednesday. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Have a great Wednesday afternoon, and we will see you soon.
Drinking alcohol increases the risk of several types of cancer, including breast, colon, and throat cancer. Drinking less can lower your risk. You deserve to know the truth about alcohol and cancer. Get the facts. Visit nyc.gov/alcohol.